Magandang araw! Ako pong muli si Imelda B. De Guzman at ang topic ko ngayon is about solving quadratic equations by factoring. Okay, ihandang muli ang inyong notebook at ballpen at isulat ang mga mahalagang konsepto na inyong makikita dito sa aking discussion. Okay, what is quadratic equation? It is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, which is the standard form of quadratic equation, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. Okay, another way to solve quadratic equation is by factoring. So here are the steps to solve quadratic equations. First, transform the quadratic equation into standard form if necessary. Second, factor the quadratic expression. Third, apply zero product property by setting each factor of the quadratic equation equal to 0. Fourth, solve the resulting equation. Fifth, check the values of the variable obtained by substituting each in the original equation. Class, kung nalimutan ninyo na ang tungkol sa factoring, balikan yung aking video tungkol sa factoring general trinomials. Okay, mag-review at siguradong gagamitin natin dito ang inyong knowledge about factoring dito sa ating lesson. Okay, so let us now solve this equation by factoring. Okay, as you can see, our given quadratic equation is written in a standard form. So, pag ganyan ang ating format, ang gagawin na natin is mag-proceed doon sa factoring. Okay, ang given quadratic equation natin is a perfect square trinomial. So, ibig sabihin, ang magiging factors nito is a square of binomial or yung tinatawag nating product of similar binomial. So, ito na ngayon ang magiging factors. Quantity n plus 1 times quantity n plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so by applying the zero product property, by setting each factor of the quadratic expression equal to 0, so we now have n plus 1 equals 0 and n plus 1 equals 0. So as you can see, class, pinagtag-isa lang natin yung ating nakuhang factors na inequate natin doon sa 0. Okay, so let us now solve for n. So, n plus 1 equals 0. Using the transposition method, n is equal to negative 1. Next is n plus 1 equals 0. By transposition method, n is equal to negative 1. Okay, you may check your answer if it is correct by going back to the original equation, n squared plus 2n plus 1 equals 0. Then, substitute the values of n, which is negative 1, doon sa ating quadratic equation. So, palitan natin yung n ng negative 1. So, it will become negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. So, solving this, we have, okay, 0 of both sides of the equation. So, therefore, negative 1 is the solution of this quadratic equation. Okay, another one we have, okay, m squared plus 3m plus 2 equals 0. So, our given quadratic equation is written in a standard form. So, we can now factor. Okay, so we can factor this quadratic equation using factoring trinomial whose leading coefficient is 1. So, we have quantity m plus 2 times quantity m plus 1 equals 0. So, we're going to apply the zero product property. So, we're going to set each factor, okay, equal to 0. So, we have m plus 2 equals 0 and m plus 1 equals 0. So, we can now solve for m. So, m plus 2 equals 0. By transposition method, we have m equals negative 2. Next is m plus 1 equals 0. By transposition method, we have n is equal to negative 1. Okay? So, let us check our answer if this is really the solution of our given quadratic equation. So, by substituting the values of m, negative 2, to our original equation, m squared plus 3m plus 2, So, ito ngayon ang ating solusyon. Negative 2 squared plus 3 times negative 2 plus 2 equals 0. So, by solving this, meron tayong 0 both sides of the equation. So, therefore, negative 2 is one of the solution. Okay, try naman natin this time is yung negative 1. So, we have negative 1 squared plus 3 times negative 1 plus 2 equals 0. So, solving this, meron din tayong 0 both sides of the equations. So, negative 1 is also one of the solution.